The movie for this week is featuring the king of Blaxploitation himself, Fred Williamson. It's a movie called Black Eye. Now, in the Blaxploitation genre, Fred Williamson has done tons of movies, and that's why I call him the king of Blaxploitation. Um, as far as characters he's done, Tommy Gibbs from Black Caesar and Hell Up in Harlem might be the only quintessential Blaxploitation character he's done. But again, when you think of all the Blaxploitation brothers and sisters and the amount of the volume of work that they've done, without a doubt, man, Brett Williamson eclipses them all. So to me, that gives him the undisputed title of King of Blaxploitation. But this particular movie, Black Eye, came out in 1974, and what it's about is Fred Williamson plays a cop, a former cop turned private detective, private investigator, who's looking into multiple murders related to this stolen cane, this coveted artifact, which is, you can see it there on the poster. I don't know if that's a pig head, a dog head, a duck. I don't know what it is, but it plays a very prominent part in this movie. So, of course, who do you have? Get the king, Fred Williamson himself. And then you have, as far as his leading lady, the lovely Teresa Graves, which you may know from Get Christy Love. Now, when I look at Teresa Graves, man, when I look at that, again, she's beautiful, like most of our Blaxploitation beauties that we cover, but she is like a spitting image of Whitney Houston to me. And if you do your research on the internet, conspiracy theories abound that say that she was Whitney Houston's mother. Now I look at that and I was like, she gonna be Whitney Houston's mother. She was only 15, but apparently conspiracy theories say she was forced to give up the baby to Sissy Houston, and but she's Whitney Houston's biological mom. Man, I tell you the stuff they come up with on the internet. And then here's just another, black and white picture, but it just shows how beautiful Teresa Graves is. And kind of the main character from the Blaxploitation genre, you have a very small role with my man Eddie Wilson. You may remember him as Sweet Daddy from Good Times, and then there's another actor from Good Times who I'm going to show a scene a little bit later, and it's a kind of scene where you'll hear the voice, and I want to see if you can figure out who that is. So those were kind of like the main Blaxploitation actors as far as this. And then one other person who was in it is Richard Anderson. And you may remember him. I don't have a picture, but he played the director on the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. So he was kind of like the handler in the Bionic Man and Bionic Woman series from the late 70s. So he plays a part in this movie as well. Okay. And in a nutshell, what the movie is, the movie itself was adapted from a book. What's the name of that book? The book is Murder on the Wild Side by Jeff Jacks, this book right here. And although it's not a Blaxploitation paperback, because the character Fred Williamson plays is a private detective, Shepard Shep Stone, he's actually a white character in the book. I think they casted Fred Williamson to try to capitalize on the Blaxploitation craze. But just looking at that book cover, even though it's not a Blaxploitation paperback, that's an awesome book cover. So the movie in and of itself is a good movie. And one of the things I do with Blaxploitation movies is I kind of group them into three tiers. You have tier one, which is at that very, top of the line, high end classic. That's your Max, Superfly, Shafts, Coffees, and those. And then at the other end, you got those that are just flat out horrible. I mean, to the point that even Blaxploitation fanatics like myself, we'll watch them because we love the genre, but we'll even admit that these are terrible movies. And that's like your Blackensteins, and there's some others out there, Super Spook, things like that. But then you got that middle tier that's just kind of like, it's not great, not bad. It's just a decent movie that probably made for a really good viewing on, a Saturday to go to the theater. And that's where Black Eye falls. And again, technically, I think had they not built it or pushed it as a Blaxploitation movie, it probably would have did a lot better because it's a pretty decent movie. And again, I think they just cast Fred Williamson to capitalize on the Blaxploitation craze. But in a nutshell, Shep Stone's investigating murders around this cane. So, if I had to give you the quick and dirty rundown, it starts off with this. To get the history of the cane, it starts off with this golden age movie, black and white, and there's this actor carrying this cane. So that's where the cane first makes its appearance. That scene, this particular actor, I guess, died because now we're at a funeral, and at this funeral, they lay this dude to rest. His wife places that same cane on the casket. Oh, because we see a newspaper article that tells us that this famous actor died. So his cane gets plopped on the casket. Somebody comes and steals the cane. This chick comes and steals the cane. And then there was a person in the funeral party who, when they walked the family to the limousine, he came back looking for the cane and he sees this chick taking off with the cane. So that's kind of where that goes. Now, the chick who steals the cane, she gets actually killed. And this is where Shep comes in place because he lives in the building where the chick who stole the cane, and he kind of sees some dude lurking around her apartment. So he goes to check it out. And when he goes to check it out, the killer jumps out on him. They fight. The killer gets away. But that's what the killer did is he stole the cane. So now when this killer steals the cane, the we cut to another scene and the killer has this cane. He's all kind of frolicking with it. And he gets a call, which is, I guess, is from the person who hired him. And now he tries to shake this person down for more money. Stone, so Fred Williamson playing Chef Stone, he pounds the pavement to find out more about the dead girl. Turns out she was a hooker who, did pornos. Not a big part of the movie, but that's what he found out. And then he gets hired by this guy. So, kind of on another note, Stone gets hired by this guy to find his missing daughter. Okay, so that's kind of like a case he takes on. Well, it turns out the dude the killer who got the cane from the chick who stole it, he winds up getting killed. And as Shep investigates, he finds out that that guy was the boyfriend of this missing girl. Okay. So now Shep gets the cane because he goes into the killer who got killed's apartment, gets the cane. The old man from the funeral, so the original person from the funeral party that was looking for the cane at the funeral, he kind of um, comes into play, and Stone, which is Fred Williamson again, he he follows that old man to see because here's what it is. That old man came to the killer's apartment looking for the cane, and when he couldn't find it, he was kind of upset. So Stone trailed him back to his place, and the guy pretended like he didn't know anything about this cane, but he took an interest in it once he found that Stone had it. Some thugs beat Stone up, take the cane from him. And then what it ultimately boils down to is there was something, people are not after the cane itself. There was something inside of the cane because now the thugs who get it from Stone, they look inside of it and whatever they're looking for isn't there. So they think he has it. So now they're like chasing after him, trying to find out where's the contents of this cane. Well, the missing girl who he's after, another side note to this, is she's part of this hippie religious cult. And turns out there was heroin in the cane. The dude who was her boyfriend who got offed, he had given her this heroin. And the man who claimed to be her father, who hired Stone to look for his missing daughter, he's not even her father. He's just a guy that's looking for the heroin as well. So this is how this all plays out. And then at the very end, there's a climactic fight with Stone and the dude. And then, it all comes to life. So that's the story in and of itself.